Spurs played well enough to beat the LA Lakers last night, but a late surge from the purple and gold doomed the silver and black. This one saw 5 lead changes and 11 ties. The Spurs' biggest lead was 10 points in the second quarter, while the Lakers led by as many as 14 in the fourth, and they go on to win it 113-104. San Antonio had a 4-point advantage with 11:37 left in the fourth. That's when the Lakers went on an 18-4 run, taking a double-digit lead. Kelvin Johnson scored a game-high 25 points, and rookie Jeremy Sohan had 14, reaching double digits for the 5th straight game, the longest such stretch of his young career.
He's playing good basketball. I mean, he's defending, scoring, rebounding, passing the ball. He's playing really well, and it's good to see the growth in a young player. I'm happy for him. Happy to see him be successful, and I think that it's only up. He continues to get better. He wants to get better, so I think we'll see great things from Jeremy.
Clippers will host the Spurs 9:30 tonight. Now Sohan is doubtful with the left quad contusion. Josh Richardson and Stanley Johnson are questionable, and Romeo Langford remains out with left adductor tightness.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
San Francisco 49ers rookie quarterback Brock Purdy is 8-0 as the team starter this season. He took over in Week 13 after Jimmy Garoppolo was knocked out of the Dolphins game with a season-ending foot injury, and Brock is undefeated ever since. Purdy is 2-0 on the road, 2-0 in the playoffs, but now he's getting ready for his toughest road test this season when the Niners play at the Eagles for the NFC Championship. And Purdy says facing the Cowboys defense in the Niners' 1912 divisional round win helped him prepare for the Eagles D.
I think they, had a great front. I thought their secondary was really, talented and skilled. So all around, I think their scheme was really good too. So I do think it was one of the best defenses that I've seen, that our team has seen this year. And obviously, this week's going to be a great challenge with the front that Philadelphia has. So I thought it was a good game to have and to work through and learn from, for this week's matchup.
Philly is getting ready to face the NFL's second-ranked defense in yards allowed in the 49ers. They're number 1 in passing yards allowed, number 2 in rushing yards per game, number 1 in fewest points allowed, and number 1 in points given up per game at 16.3. The Niners D is just about as tough as it gets.
They're really good all across the board, and I think it starts off with their front seven and then having a really good defensive back group. They fly to the ball. They're disruptive at every position. They're well coached. So we have a task in front of us. We have a really good challenge, really big challenge in front of us. And as always, we just want to go out there and execute, try and be efficient.
Eagles will host the Niners Sunday 2 p.m. with the winner advancing to Super Bowl 57. Seattle rookie cornerback Tariq Woolen helped the Seahawks 2022 draft class ranked number 1 in the NFL per ESPN. With 5 rookie starters on both sides of the ball and a Pro Bowl selection for Woolen in his first year, the Hawks rookie class made a huge impact this season. ESPN says their best rookie was 5th-round pick Woolen, who tied for the NFL lead with 6 interceptions. He finished with 16 passes defensed and allowed a completion rate of just 47% in coverage. PFF.com says no team got more from the rookie class than Seattle's rookies, who combined for 5,074 snaps during the regular season.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Not nucleus or nuclei.
No.
It's
not
still,
Therm Thursday interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
But still
not
cool.
Therm Thursday interesting, but I still appreciate your effort, Larry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our KSAT Q&A is coming up next. No nucleus. It is a cancer that thousands of women face every year. So what are the risk factors? How is it detected? How are screenings such a key tool in prevention? We're going to talk about it all with Dr. Yasmin Lyons, gynecologic oncologist from the Mays Cancer Center at UT Health San Antonio's MD Anderson Cancer Center. We are talking about cervical cancer. January is a month to really raise awareness about that. So let's first start with the risk factors. What are the risks when you're talking about this disease?
So, by far the biggest risk for cervical cancer is going to be infection with HPV, or the human papillomavirus. Because HPV is a sexually transmitted infection, most of the risk factors have to do with that. And those risk factors are early age of sexual activity, multiple sexual partners, having a partner with multiple partners, and having other sexually transmitted infections. There are some risk factors that are not related to HPV, and that includes smoking and having a weak immune system.
So, I mean, I don't know that a lot of people know a lot about cervical cancer, which is one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, doctor, and I appreciate it. I mean, it's the fourth most diagnosed cancer in the world. 13,000 women will be diagnosed in the United States this year. 4,000 women will die from it. Give us some of the symptoms that really people shouldn't ignore when it comes to cervical cancer.
Yep. So, the biggest symptoms are probably going to be abnormal bleeding. So that could be absence of a period, as well as really heavy bleeding, bleeding in between periods, and bleeding after sex. Other common symptoms include vaginal discharge, back pain, fatigue, and bleeding from the bladder or the rectum.
How is it detected? How do you detect cervical cancer?
So the best way that we can try and screen for it is through a pap smear, and that is assuming that it's a really early cervical cancer. So the best way that women can prevent cervical cancer is by getting the HPV vaccine and then doing their screening for cervical cancer with pap smears every 3 years if they're between ages 20 through 29, and every 5 years, along with HPV testing for women who are 30 to 65.
When is the HPV vaccine normally given?
So the HPV vaccine is approved all the way from ages 9 through now up to age 45, and for both men and women.
I think there's also a lot of misconceptions just about what HPV is, who can get it, how it's treated. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you run into when it comes to HPV?
Yep, I think a big myth that we run into a lot is that only women can get HPV, and that is incorrect. So men can get HPV, they do, and it causes other types of cancer in men, just like it causes cervical cancer in women. Another big myth is that people say if they've had their HPV vaccine that they don't need pap smears, and that's incorrect because we do have some cervical cancers that are not related to HPV. So that's why the pap smear is so important in addition to the HPV vaccine.
What are some of the treatment options for people that are out there that are suffering from cervical cancer?
It really depends on the stage of the cancer, meaning how far it's spread. For a really early cancer that's just limited to the cervix, we can offer patients surgery. For those cancers that have spread past the cervix but are still in the pelvis, we can offer a combination of chemotherapy and radiation. And then for patients that have distant disease, meaning that it's spread from the cervix to other places like the lung or the liver, we can offer a combination of chemotherapy and sometimes immunotherapy.
You mentioned this earlier when it came to pap smears, but keeping track of the timing with your pap smears, with your mammograms, the recommendations have changed over the years. So I want you to go back and tell us again, how often are women supposed to be getting these routine screenings, and does it depend on your age?
Yes, it definitely depends on your age. For women that are ages 21 through 29, we just recommend a pap smear and no HPV testing, and that is to be done every 3 years. And then for women ages 30 through 65, we recommend both a pap smear and HPV testing, and that's going to be given every 5 years.
So you said that women should not ignore some of the symptoms that we listed earlier. What's the very first thing someone should do if they have some of these symptoms, if they are concerned that they may have cervical cancer?
So if they have any of the symptoms that we experience, they should talk to their OBGYN. If the OBGYN then thinks that it's concerning for cancer, they would get sent to a gynecologic oncologist who could help treat them.
I was asking you earlier before we got this segment started if family history played a role. You said it's really not that significant when it comes to cervical cancer. And given the risk factors that you listed, would you say that this is a preventable disease with these routine screenings?
I would say it's one that is preventable now with the HPV vaccine and with early detection by routine pap smears.
So for men, you said HPV can cause different types of cancers in men. Give me an example of what type of cancers HPV can cause in men.
So for men, HPV can cause anal cancer and it can cause oropharyngeal cancers. Same thing in women. It can cause anal cancer and oropharyngeal cancers in women too. Obviously, men can't get cervical cancer, but they are still at risk if they have the HPV virus that it can turn into a cancer.
I'm going to ask you something. Some people might think it's a silly question, but I'm guessing there's a lot of people out there, whether they're willing to admit it or not, don't know the answer. And I'm not just talking about men. What exactly is a cervix?
Yeah, great question. So the cervix is the very bottommost part of the uterus, and most people think about it in the setting of childbirth because the cervix is kind of the exit or the last step before a baby is born. The cervix is what dilates. So that's the only part of the internal female genitalia that we can see on a pelvic exam.
Dr. Yasmin Lyons with UT Health San Antonio, appreciate your time. I appreciate Myra for not putting me on the spot there with that, quizzing me on what a cervix is. So we appreciate you going through what is very important information on cervical cancer.
You bet.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We'll be right back. There's something in the air in Hawaii, a glowing spiral in the sky. It was captured by a Japanese telescope camera. Researchers for the Subaru telescope noted on Twitter that it seems to be related to the recent launch of a new SpaceX satellite.
Yeah, one expert says this usually occurs when part of a satellite dumps fuel or generates a trail of exhaust while rotating. Similar events have been previously spotted, including shortly after a California Falcon 9 launch last year.
That looks wild.
It does.
Yeah, crazy.
A lot of junk in outer space right now, too. And that junk burns up in the atmosphere due to the friction. And there's just an increasing amount of those satellites. They're from SpaceX, and they're going to make viewing the night sky in the years ahead very different, and to some even a lot more difficult, to be honest with you. Our producer is in the studio. He just looked over at us like, what's he doing again? I'll talk weather. 54 right now. Science. By midnight, 41 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we're back down into the 30s. 37 degrees for the low temperature tomorrow morning. And by the way, I finally have the completed thermometer, the fix that I made, that I took you through the process. We'll show you that and our promising rain chances in just a bit.
The final product revealed on this thermometer Thursday and the forecast.
Yeah, in that order.
Good news all around. Final thermometer is done, and it's accurate, of course.
Of course.
And we've got promising rain chances. That's what I like to see.
By the way, when we get to Therm Thurs, I had somebody ask me a question.
Okay.
About the whole calibration. And
sure.
He's from Minnesota. He's our friend Royal.
Oh, Royal,
he said he had friends giving him grief because the thermometer only went down to 0. And he goes, oh, that's not going to work in Minnesota.
No, well, I didn't make it for there. I made it for Texas.
Exactly.
Another chilly morning tomorrow. All thermometers will be just fine. We'll be probably in the mid-30s around town, lower 30s up into the hill country. But unseasonably cold afternoons are on the way. I mean, we're talking low 50s for highs most of next week. But that's because of promising rain chances. Let's start with a look at our pattern. Quiet across Texas right now. Some activity, of course, in New England and even the upper Midwest, little clipper system moving in. But what we're watching is this bit of clouds and moisture over the Pacific and this weak little swirl associated with it. That's the upper level energy that's going to combine with a few other factors to give us a very damp Saturday. Not a whole lot of real rain from it, but dampness. Starting right off the bat at sunrise, we'll have drizzle and sprinkles, even a few light showers east of I-35, but most of the day will just persist of the very light sprinkles and a few hundredths of an inch here and there. Once we get into Saturday night, that's when we could even have a few rumbles of thunder, a few real showers, especially east of I-35, and a couple rumbles of thunder can't be ruled out. About 40% coverage there. And then Sunday, midday afternoon, we should start to clear out. Still some uncertainty onto exactly how long some rain could hang around into Sunday. So that's something we'll have to check back in for updates. As for accumulations, pretty minimal. Notice by noon on Saturday, I think this model has the best representation. 4 or 5 hundredths of an inch. And then once we see some of those real showers, not just sprinkles, some real showers by Sunday midday, we could be talking 1/4 of an inch farther east of San Antonio, Seguin to Floresville to Carson City and points eastward. That's where we could actually have some more measurable and meaningful rain. At the same time, we start to clear on Sunday in the afternoon, Sunday 2 o'clock. That's when our next system starts to drop into the western U.S. from Canada. And this really gives us the likelihood of digging far enough south to put us in the good energy zone. the good upper level energy from that system. And a lot of Pacific moisture as well. I wouldn't call it an atmospheric river, but a nice plume of moisture is likely to get brought in from the Pacific. But remember, that's just upper level moisture for us. That's all that really the Pacific provides. But that's something. It adds to the rainfall potential for us. It's a nice promising setup. So 40% Saturday, especially late for those light showers. Sunday morning, 20% chance. Monday, 30%, a few little showers here and there. We boosted it to 40% Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm already tempted to raise that even higher. I just want to see a few model runs before we increase that coverage even more. But the potential for more significant rain, at least, is there. That's the nice thing about it. And meaningful rain, drought-denting rain is possible next week. Let's talk temps. 47 Fredericksburg and Kerrville. 59 in Cotulla. Officially in town right now, we're at 54 degrees. Meanwhile, Rio Medina 51, Sagina 50 degrees. Cooling quickly this evening. You'll want the jacket, especially tomorrow morning. Mid-30s around San Antonio, lower 30s, even some upper 20s in the hill country. Even go to Sabinal and Uvalde, 32, Canyon Lake 32, Comfort about 30 degrees for the low temperature. By noon, we're at 53. We warm to 58, so tomorrow afternoon is going to be a lot like today for everybody. We're going to be in the upper 50s. 62 by Saturday with that dampness, so not necessarily a cold drizzle and dampness. Then by Sunday with some clearing near 70. But look at next week. I mean, we're down lower 50s for highs most of the week. All right. A while back, I introduced you to this instrument panel. It had the did have a thermometer. Thermometer, barometer, and hygrometer is what it typically is. The big barometer in the middle, hygrometer on the bottom to measure the humidity, and then what is typically a thermometer there mounted vertically on the top. And it had an issue. This is a good vintage keepsake thermometer from our wonderful viewers and friends, Ken Coman and his wife. And notice how that thermometer is broken. Well, I took you through the steps over the past many weeks on replacing that whole thermometer apparatus there and really just putting in a homemade one, but custom making it to the specs of this instrumentation panel. Here's the finished product for you. You go from the broken thermometer, even match the color of the metal there to that brass color. You go from that to just a thing of beauty. Homemade work of art right there. In order to keep this keepsake in good measuring condition, I even calibrated the barometer for Ken and his wife, and we'll go over barometer calibration some other day because a lot of people have those, dial barometers and they think, oh, it's broken, it doesn't really work. Oh, it's actually pretty easy to fix them. All right, we're gonna go to our thermometer winner this week out of San Antonio, David Halderman, the winner of a homemade thermometer. You can go to KSAT.com/thermometer to enter that drawing.
I'm glad you called it an instrument panel because I was going to call it a thingamajobber. So I'm glad I know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And tell Royal, by the way, I used that big heavy coat he gave me. Remember that big?
Oh, yeah. Up on the hard water.
On the hard water.
Hard water.
I think you did just tell Royal yourself. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Royal.
We got to go. We'll be right back. Well, it's not the size of the asteroid in Armageddon, but a small asteroid is making a close encounter with Earth, possibly the closest one yet, but apparently nothing to worry about here. There is no risk of the asteroid dubbed 2023 BU affecting our planet.
Yeah, the asteroid estimated to be about the size of a box truck, expected to zoom over the southern tip of South America, about 2,200 miles above the Earth's surface. It's expected to turn into a fireball and disintegrate harmlessly in the atmosphere. The bigger debris will potentially fall as small meteorites. The asteroid was discovered by an amateur astronomer out of his observatory in Crimea last Saturday.
That's interesting.
Pretty cool.
The first Black and Native American female pilot is being honored on her birthday with her own Barbie. This is the Bessie Coleman Barbie doll. It's part of the Inspiring Women series, joining other notable women, including Tina Turner, Jane Goodall, and Madam C.J. Walker. Barbie is also partnering with the Bessie Coleman Aviation All-Stars, which introduces girls to careers in aviation, as well as the nonprofit Girls Right Now.
Yeah, Coleman attended flight school in Paris because U.S. schools wouldn't admit her. Becoming the first black woman to earn a pilot's license, she died at the age of 34 in a tragic airplane accident during a flight that was operated by her mechanic. Her great niece hopes more people will discover Bessie's story and be inspired through this doll.
Well, if you are married, hopefully you celebrate your spouse every day of every year. But today's the actual chance for some extra celebration, extra credit, if you will, because it is National Spouses Day.
Not meant to be a gift-giving day, just want to make that clear. Caskey's groaning over there, but it's a time to reconnect and spend time together and show your appreciation for your spouse. The origin of National Spouses Day is not clear, but it's been around since the mid-1980s.
Caskey, you think it was started by the spouse industry? That's probably,
Yes.
That's probably his guess. Yeah, we'll be right back.
It's a thing. All right, 30s tomorrow morning, so chilly to start the day. By the afternoon, only 58. We'll have some sunshine. Saturday, we'll get ready for low clouds, dampness, drizzle, very light sprinkles, then a few scattered showers Saturday night into early Sunday. Maybe a rumble of thunder, best chance east of I-35. Sunday, we should be able to get some sunshine in the afternoon, but next week, more promising rain chances. That's something to watch. We'll keep you updated, so check back in for the latest.
Thanks, Adam. And thanks for watching.
See you at 10.